I have a collection of questions you've always wanted the answers to. Let's go! First, an observation. Cookies and baguettes are basically kinds of bread. So my question is, why, when left outside for the night, a cookie gets soft and a baguette becomes hard? It doesn't make any sense. Well, the thing is, cookies are sugary bread. The sugar and salt in them soak up the moisture from the atmosphere, so they get soft. Baguettes don't have much salt and sugar, so they don't attract water and just dry out. Superglue sticks everything to everything, but how come it doesn't get stuck to the tube? Turns out that the glue needs some compound with hydrogen to polymerize. In the tube, there's just oxygen and no water, but outside, there's plenty of moisture. Also, this explains why the stuff always sticks so well to your fingers. They're warm and perfectly moist. I'm sure you cried at least once when cutting an onion. Why does it happen? So onions and garlic contain amino acids, and one of the compounds gets decomposed when being sliced. It turns into an irritator when it comes in contact with water, in particular, your eyes. Your eyes release tears to wash the irritant away, so that's why you cry. There are a couple of tricks that can prevent it. When cutting an onion, try keeping a sugar cube between your teeth. It'll absorb the irritant. Another life hack is to hold a small piece of bread between your lips. It can help you too. Why do you see things when rubbing your eyes? These colors and shapes are called phosphenes. The reason why you see them is that when rubbing, you increase the pressure in your eyeballs and activate the neurons of the retina that process visual information. Once they're activated, your brain interprets it as seeing something. When you don't get enough sleep or are just too tired, you get those dark circles around your eyes. Want to know why? The skin under the eyes is very thin, so blood vessels are very close to the surface there, and you can see any difference easily. If you have a lack of sleep, your skin gets paler, and the blood vessels are even more visible. So you can see those dark circles showing through the skin. Also, with age, the skin naturally gets thinner, so that's why older people tend to have dark circles. But if you're young, just try to get more sleep. Let's pay a bit of attention to backpacks. They have a few interesting features. First, some of them have sternum straps, and they are quite helpful. They allow you to redistribute the weight of the backpack a bit, lifting some of it from your shoulders. Not much, but just enough to make your backpack lighter and easier to carry. And of course, the sternum straps prevent the shoulder straps from sliding off. Okay, the next thing is gear loops. And probably from the name of it, you already have an idea of what you need them for. You can strap in some useful gear you need with you, like trekking poles or shovels. Some gear will need to be secured to do it. Drop the handle through the loop and rotate it upward. Then, secure it with the elastic hook at the top, and you're golden. And yes, all backpacks have loops. Actually, I never thought of their purpose until today. Some people say that if you slide your thumbs through them, it makes the backpack sit tighter on your back, making it more comfortable. Other people just rest their hands there, but the reason why they're there is probably to prevent the ends from sliding back from the buckles. That would be quite a headache to slide them back all the time, right? Okay, let's look into some other ordinary stuff we've never paid attention to. Let's take, for example, jeans. They have those metal rivets. It turns out that they've been there as long as jeans exist. Jacob Davis, the man who made the first pair of jeans, added copper rivets to places where the pants were more likely to rip to make them stronger. So it was a crucial detail to keep jeans together. Today, they have a more decorative purpose because they're distinctive and traditional for jeans. Also, many zippers have the letters YKK engraved on them. Those are the initial letters of Yoshida Kogyo Kabushiki Gaisha. It's the name of a Japanese company that can be translated as Yoshida Manufacturing Shareholding Company. It's the largest zipper manufacturer in the world, so all zippers produced by them are marked with these letters. It's estimated that the company produces half of all zippers in the world. That's why you see their zippers more often than any others. Have you noticed that canned and bottled soda seems to taste different? You're not wrong, that's actually true, and there's even science behind it. Chemists say that aluminum cans have a polymer layer that absorbs some of the soda's taste, so cans indeed change the taste. Chemicals in a plastic bottle can add some acetaldehyde, a byproduct that gets formed while plastic is melted, to the drink, so they also change the taste a bit. You never really drink the original drink. If you want to try the real thing, buy sodas in glass bottles. When soda is stored this way, its taste is the most similar to the original one. Plastic bottles with soft drinks have 5 bumps on the bottom, and water and juice plastic bottles have almost flat bottoms, except for a little kink. It's not random. A plastic bottle is made by putting a plastic tube into a mold and blowing some air inside to make it expand until it takes the needed shape. The problem is that at the bottom, the bottle will always have an outward kink that will make the bottle unstable. To avoid it, some air is also pushed inward from the bottom, creating that small punt at the base of it. Flat bottle bottoms are common because they need less plastic to be made, but soft drinks and sparkling water need special treatment. These liquids have internal pressure that can push the plastic outward, messing up with the punt and the stable form of a bottle. So, soda bottles have a curved shape because this way they're more pressure resistant. Compare folding a regular piece of paper to folding a paper tube. The latter will have more resistance. In the same way, curved plastic is more resistant to any pressure. Take a closer look at your bag of chips. You can probably find these little colored circles. They're made by the manufacturer to test the print that is used on the package. They're called color control patches. The circles are not the same palette as the final package. They are layered on top of each other to achieve the final color of the bag. So why do manufacturers need them again? Imagine that something is off and the printing machine prints a bunch of wrong packages. That's a lot of wasted money. So, these control patches are there to make sure that the final print is going to be correct. If they're off, the manufacturer will know that the whole package is going to be off too. These patches allow the printers to find a surplus or a deficiency of color and solve the issue. But don't worry if you don't find these circles. They probably just got cut off. Take a good look at a milk jug. There's often an inverted circle on one of the sides. This dimple is there to make the jug more resistant and to prevent it from rupturing if the jug falls on the floor. The dimple gives some more space for the liquid to expand. Also, as the expiration date approaches, the microbes in the milk start to expel some gases. As more and more of them get trapped inside, the pressure in the jug rises. The dimple accommodates the expansion and prevents the jug from bursting.
You must have noticed those lines on some kinds of chips. For one thing, they help with the distribution of spices and seasonings. In other words, all those substances that make your chips taste like cheese are mostly stored inside the lines. Plus, the lines make chips crunchier. Some cars have a tiny coffee cup sign on their dashboard. It's the vehicle's anti-drowsiness mechanism. There are manufacturers that equip their cars with a drowsiness detection system. It analyzes the speed, wheel angle, and lane deviations to figure out if it's time for the driver to take a break. If it is, the vehicle makes several audio signals and the coffee cup sign starts to flash. Some plastic milk containers have dents on their sides. These dents serve several purposes. For one thing, when milk spoils, this process usually causes swelling and high pressure buildup inside the container. That's when the dent comes in handy. It pops out and doesn't let the jug blow up. Plus, if you decide to freeze the milk, it will expand like any other liquid. And then again, the indentation will pop out and prevent the container from breaking inside your freezer. You might have wondered why jerry cans have 3 handles. It's a clever designer move. This way, if you carry the container alone, you can use only the central handle to distribute the weight evenly. But if your friend wants to help you out, each of you can grab the side handle. The first jeans had a problem. Workers and miners, who were the original jeans wearers, put too much pressure on the poor piece of clothing. As a result, the seams couldn't withstand the stress and tore. Tiny metal studs were invented to prevent this from happening. Sticky notes come off relatively easily because their adhesive is spread out across the paper unevenly, in small blobs. And only some of these blobs touch the surface of whatever you've stuck the note on. That's why when you unstick a Post-it and attach it to something else, it still works, until all the glue gets used or covered with dirt. Soda bottles are always filled in such a way that there's some space between the liquid and the cap. That's because soda contains carbon dioxide. It's a gas that can expand once a bottle is heated. If there's no gap in the bottle, it can break because of the pressure building inside. Also, when you open your drink, the gases go out in the form of bubbles, and the drink is likely to overflow. The gap helps with this problem too. Dental floss is super useful for your teeth, but it might be rather hard to operate. It regularly slips out of your fingers and tangles. To avoid these problems, tear off a piece of dental floss and tie its 2 ends together. It'll be much easier to use and won't hurt your fingers. Now, about those horizontal lines on plastic bottles. They help hold bottles up. Some bottles are produced from soft plastic. Without the lines, they wouldn't keep their shape. Instead, they would twist easily or even break. The soft round part under a soda bottle cap keeps the carbonation from escaping. Without it, your pop would go flat in no time, probably even before you buy it. If you don't have anywhere to put a toothpick after using it, break off its flat end at the first groove and place it on the table. Now, you can balance the used portion of your toothpick on the grooved part, so that it doesn't have to touch the table. You can also make a makeshift stand for disposable chopsticks. They have a sort of lump on one side. Break that lump off before you split the pair. Now, when you want to take a sushi break, just place the stick on this stand. Donuts are shaped like rings because otherwise they might get overdone at the edges, but uncooked and gooey inside. With a hole in the center, both the outside and the inside get ready at the same time. Ever notice that layer of clear fluid in gel pens? It's called the ink follower, or stopper fluid. The gel in such pens contains pigment particles dissolved in a polymer solution. The gel should be thick enough to keep the pigment particles suspended, but also thin enough to flow first onto the ball and then the paper. The main task of the stopper fluid is to be a barrier to prevent the gel from evaporating or leaking out. Without this transparent fluid, your gel pen wouldn't function. The fluid always stays in one position and doesn't get dissolved with the gel. Neither does it move backward or flow out of the pen. Some button-down shirts have a button hidden on the back of the collar. Its main purpose is to prevent the tie from sticking out from under the collar. As for that locker loop on the back, you can use it to hang the shirt on a hook to avoid wrinkling it. Outer rings in zipper sliders, especially when 2 sliders are used together, are added so that you can connect them with a lock and keep sticky fingers away. Most ambulance cars have this word printed on the front of the vehicle. That's the word ambulance backward. It's written in reverse so that the driver in front of the ambulance can see the word properly in their rearview mirror. Then they can move out of the way and let the ambulance pass. Escalator brushes serve an important safety purpose. You might have heard that most accidents happen after people get their bags or clothes stuck in escalators because they stand too close to the sides. But when there are nylon brushes on both sides, you can't but keep your feet away from the escalator's skirt panels. The result? No accidents. The side holes in sneakers are for laces. Since sneakers were originally invented for basketball players, this interesting design allowed them to accommodate any player's foot. They just needed to lace their sneakers in the most comfortable way for them. The holes in the bottoms of your earphones allow air to circulate up and through the speakers. It helps to increase low frequencies, making the bass sound deeper. The quality of the sound also becomes much better. Ever been stranded with a cup of applesauce, but no spoon at hand? But each snack pack already has a built-in spoon. Several twists of the foil lid, and here you go. Diamond slits on backpacks were originally placed only on traveler bags. Their purpose was to carry ropes. These days, you can find such slits on almost every backpack. Why not use them to carry a bottle of water, an umbrella, or a pair of sneakers? Highlighters are filled with a special semi-transparent fluorescent ink that can glow in dim light. Yellow and light green hues are the most popular because they don't prevent you from seeing the text after black and white photocopying. Photocopiers perceive yellow and light green marks as almost non-existent and don't print them. A stop sign has an octagonal shape to help drivers recognize it easily, even if they see it from the back. When the signs weren't reflective yet, this shape prevented drivers from confusing the stop sign with any other at night. The number 57 on a Heinz ketchup bottle has nothing to do with the product label. The truth is that the place with the numbers is the very sweet spot you should tap to get the ketchup flowing. So stop hitting the bottom of your sauce bottle and hit 57. Lots of private houses have triangular-shaped roofs because this allows rain, snow, and fallen leaves to slide off the slope. If all this stuff piled up on top of your house, one day your roof would collapse. Airplane windows have rounded edges, and that's a crucial safety measure. It prevents aircraft accidents. Weak spots are usually situated in the corners. If airplane windows were square or rectangular, each of them would have 4 potential weak spots. Under pressure, they would collapse.
You may procrastinate cleaning your attic, but what if I tell you that you can find valuable stuff? I mean, your childhood blanket surely has a memory, but I'm talking about items that can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Let's wipe the dust on the boxes and see what we can dig out. The first one is comic books. If you're a fan of comic books, you don't forget them in the attic. But if not, you probably didn't know you had them before, especially if they belong to your parents. In 2014, an auction of the first comic in which Superman appeared got $3,207,852. I'm guessing that after the auction, the seller's all-time favorite superhero becomes Superman. Oh, and to figure out how to identify which comic is valuable, take a quick surf on the web. Technological items are probably one of the most forgotten things in attics and basements. Anything from an old radio to electronic music equipment. For instance, old-school typewriters from brands like Remington or Hermes can fetch you hundreds of dollars. The number varies depending on the version, whether it's working or not, and the color. Colors like turquoise or pink are rare, so they're likely to be worth more. An orange 1969 Hermes sold for $750 on eBay. Let's say you found an old pair of sneakers or an amp and think no one would want them. Well, think twice. There are people willing to pay hundreds of dollars for that stuff if they're vintage. A vintage Sennheiser mic sold for almost $160, and it wasn't even working. Old film cameras are also friends of your wallet. If you have the lenses, tripod bag, or other accessories, your chances of having a small fortune are high. An M6 Leica with its box sold for around $5,000. 3, 2, 1. Say cheese! Video game consoles and games from the 80s can help you big time, especially if they're unused or rare editions. For instance, an unopened copy of Super Mario Bros. From 1985 sold for $114,000 at auction. Who would have thought? Number 6 is vinyl records. Vinyl collectors are known for their passion for collecting rare records. Most vinyl lovers prefer to have a listening experience on good condition copies of their favorite songs. So your chances are high if your parents' vinyl records from the 60s are in good shape. Not just technological stuff pays off. Though there are many things you wouldn't expect to be worth money, they actually are. The first example is dolls. These playthings of sweet past years may be forgotten in your grown-up world. But let's get back to the past. Doll collectors are willing to hand over major money for the right doll. I mean, a 1959 original Barbie sold for $27,450 at the auction. But of course, that's an exception. You can earn around $400 for American Girl dolls or its sorts. If you don't have any of the items on my list, just don't give up yet. Collectible cards in general are very popular. Let's start with Pokemon. The first edition Han Solo thick stamp Shadowless Charizard sold for around $350,000. The lucky owner doesn't have to catch them all. Don't have Charizards in your collection? Well, other cards of popular favorites like Pikachu are worth money too. Not all first editions, however, have that much value. Horsea or similar ones will get you around $300. There's also sports trading cards like baseball cards and Magic the Gathering cards. They also vary by condition and rarity. What about shoes? If you're lucky, certain sneakers in the back of your closet may put more cash in your bank account. An example would be Air Jordans. The first sneaker designed for Michael Jordan was produced in the mid-80s. If you found one of those sneakers, they could be worth hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars, depending on the model and condition. Similarly, a pair of 1972 Nike running shoes, known as the Moon Shoe, sold for a record $437,500. Now, there are some pieces that you'll likely find at your grandparents' house, such as Murano glass objects. The colorful glass objects are valuable because they're handmade and they're from Italy. These were common tourist souvenirs. The everyday use objects like ashtrays and candy dishes can sell for a couple $100, while sculptures will sell for a few hundred to a few thousand. Number 11 is postage stamps. At the time they were bought, they cost less than $1, but now you can earn a huge amount for the right one. One stamp from 1849 was sold for $99,100. You could be walking on a gold mine if you have some antique rugs like a family relic. If your grandparents have old Turkish or Persian rugs with high quality and craftsmanship, it can earn you hundreds of dollars. A carpet was sold for $33.7 million. Furniture from the mid-century design period is lit. The furniture from the decades between 1933 to 1965 can be worth a lot of money. You may not make much use of an old couch, but someone else sure can. Mid-century modern furniture is in high demand today. Furniture, decor, and art are all valuable. It looks like it'll be trendy soon. How about action figures? 80s action figures are also a hit. Action figures and playsets of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe are among the most valuable. If you don't want to keep them to yourself and earn extra bucks, you would probably be happy to hear that the Eterna playset, circa 1986, went for more than $7,000 on eBay. First edition books are pretty valuable too, as you can guess. Some first edition books sell for $1 million. Of course, not all books cost this much, but keep an eye on them before you donate the books you couldn't keep. Speaking of donations, In 2015, a person in the US donated an old computer. There was one minor thing there. The model was a super rare first-generation Apple computer. Plus, it was worth $200,000. Yeah, too valuable to be recycled. It was one of the original 200 Apple I computers built by Steve Wozniak in 1976. The person found the computer along with a bunch of other old technology while cleaning out the garage and donated them all together. The waste management company then sold the computer to a museum. Interestingly, the company looked for the person who donated the computer because they didn't leave any details or ask for a receipt. This mysterious person has a check worth $100,000 waiting for them. One Reddit user says they found just over 200 grams of gold powder while cleaning out their grandfather's attic. Sometimes the valuable things come untouched. Do you think posters are valuable? Yes, the value of a poster depends on how famous the poster is and, of course, how much it means to people. An original Wizard of Oz movie poster in good condition sold for $108,000 in 2019. Colorful Pyrex dishes from the mid-20th century are favorites of vintage lovers. If you have one of those opaque soda lime glasses in pastel shades with interesting patterns, it's your lucky day, especially if the design hasn't been scratched. The holy grail of the Pyrex world are pieces featuring the Lucky in Love pattern. They were produced only in 1959, so they can cost thousands of dollars. Another interesting item is lunchboxes and thermoses that schoolgoers used in the 1950s and 1960s. They generally have colorful cartoon characters, TV show heroes, or big-name bands. For example, the Jetsons-themed lunchbox and its matching thermos sold for $1,650 on eBay. We get used to checking the time on our phones or smartwatches, but it wasn't always the case. If you have a small wall or desk clock from the 1930s or 1940s, you could trade it for a four-figure bill. Does this list convince you to spend a weekend in your garage or attic? Would you sell those or keep them as family memoirs?
Now, up for a guessing game? It's going to be pretty simple. I'll be giving you the name of some food, and you must guess what it is. This might seem easy, but the farther you get, the tougher the questions are. So, let's start. The first food on our list is Cheetos. So, what are they? If your answer was chips, sorry, but you're wrong. The right answer is puffs, and it's explained by the method they use to make Cheetos. They're made of corn, and they have their signature shape thanks to an extruder that shapes them. The main difference between chips and puffs is that chips are fried and puffs, like Cheetos, can be processed in several ways. For example, they can be baked. Next, we have a dish called Welsh Rabbit. All I can say now is that it's super yummy. Can you guess what the Welsh Rabbit is? The name is pretty misleading, I know that. But in reality, a Welsh Rabbit has nothing to do with rabbit. It's actually an 18th century recipe with hot melted cheese generously poured over toast. Told you it's delish. Now, lion's head. Yep, that's a dish, and we already know that the name is quite misleading. So, any ideas? This is pretty simple. A dish called a lion head is just a meatball. It's a traditional Chinese dish, and it has many alterations. Hey, if you can add up some broccoli on your plate, it might even look like a mane, and the meatball can resemble the head. But you have to have quite a poetic mind for that. Now let's imagine you're having dinner at a posh restaurant, and you see sweetbreads on the menu. You don't want to seem ignorant and ask the waiter about the dish, so you have to make a decision yourself. Can you guess what it is, and would you grab it? To grab or not to grab? That is the question. Sure thing, tastes differ, but if you expect to have a cake or a fancy muffin when you order sweetbreads, you're going to be terribly disappointed. Thing is, sweetbreads are the thymus gland of animals. Good news, you're not very likely to get into such a situation in a restaurant, as sweetbreads aren't common today. Now another thing that may sound fancy, but is not fancy at all, prairie oysters. I believe you've already guessed these are not oysters. Any ideas about what it really is? Okie dokie, here's the recipe for prairie oysters. All you need is a raw egg, some Worcestershire sauce, and hot sauce. And if you want to spice it up a little bit, just add some vinegar and a bit of tomato juice. Now, there's another version which uses the part that turns a bull into a steer, and I'll leave it right there. Alright, this name is truly poetic. You need to use your imagination to guess what it is. So, ants climbing a tree. What kind of dish could it be? No ants are involved here. Actually, it looks very much like pasta bolognese, but it's a Chinese dish, Szechuan to be more precise. It's made of ground meat that represents ants and bean noodles that represent trees. It's pretty hot as there is chili paste. There's no info about what exactly chili paste represents, but I guess it might represent a hot summer day. Next, we have a dish called Bubble and Squeak. This one seems pretty simple though. Just think about it. What can squeak when we cook it? So, some foods do squeak when we put them over the heat. Bubble and Squeak is a hash, and you can cook it with different leftover veggies you've got in your fridge. They say it's the cabbage that gives that signature squealing sound, but it's not the only ingredient for sure. It's commonly made with potatoes, onions, and yeah, cabbage. But you can play with the recipe of that. Now, what about a dish called Hen of the Woods? Any ideas? Nope, these are not chicken wings. It has nothing to do with hens or chicks, actually. It's a mushroom, and it has plenty of names, too. You can call it a ram's head, a sheep's head, a dancing mushroom, and even a monkey's bench. These mushrooms can be consumed fried, but traditionally they're considered to be medicinal mushrooms. They're usually about the size of a potato, but sometimes they can grow up to 100 pounds. So big, in fact, that there's not much room left. Okay, sorry. Congrats, you've made it through 50% of the questions. Next up is the parson's nose. Yeah, it's tough, so I'll give you some hints here. Pick one of the options. It's a dish made of veggies, it's a dish made of chicken, it's a cake. Time's up. Hen of the Woods may not be made of chicken, but parson's nose definitely has some chicken in it. Technically, it's a chicken's behind. Look right here, this little triangular thing. Some chefs don't like leaving this part on the chicken before roasting it, but others believe it's quite good. Thing is, the flavor of that part is pretty rich because of the oils the birds produce. Now, it's getting even harder. So, what do you think cat's tongues are? This one is pretty popular around the world. I mean, who doesn't like cookies? Right. Cat's tongues are the cookies that are popular in France, the Netherlands, and even the Philippines. There are different techniques of how to achieve this specific shape. Some chefs use pastry bags, and others prefer molds. The cookies are delicate and sweet, and sometimes have a buttercream filling. They can also be served with ice cream and even dipped in chocolate. Ooh, yumbo! Egg hoppers is the next misleading name we have on the list. So, what's your guess? Egg hoppers may sound a bit like grasshoppers, but sure thing, this dish cannot jump. This dish looks very similar to an average French crepe, but the ingredients are pretty different. Instead of wheat flour, they use rice flour, and regular milk is replaced with coconut milk. Not hard to guess, it's a dish that you can find in some parts of Southeast Asia and in India. Now we know that egg hoppers don't relate to grasshoppers, but what about a grasshopper pie? Now, even though bugs can be cooked in some countries and they can be part of a national cuisine, a grasshopper pie is 100% bug-free. It's made with graham cracker crumbs, creme de menthe, creme de cacao, and some heavy cream. So it has an exotic name because of its color, and it's delicious. Next, we have a dish with quite a particular name. It's called the priest fainted. I'm going to help you a little bit with this one. It's made with veggies, so all you need to do is guess what veggie you need to cook this dish. The main ingredient here is an eggplant. Also, there should be some tomatoes and a lot of olive oil. The flavor of this dish is super intense. Eskimo ice cream. Does this sound sweet to you? Well, sorry to break it to you, but you won't find this one in an ice cream parlor. Yeah, it has some berries in it, but it also has some reindeer fat, seal oil, and even some ground fish. They say the texture is nice and pretty creamy, but it still doesn't sound like a dessert. Next up, egg cream. You might have already guessed that it has neither eggs nor cream. What could it be? First off, it's a drink. It's made of some milk, fizzy water, and any syrup to your liking. Typically, they use chocolate or vanilla syrup. It's mostly a fountain drink. Some entrepreneurs tried to bottle it, but to keep it as refreshing as it should be, the ingredients should be mixed right before you drink it. Ah, the last but not the least, the final thing to be guessed here is Bombay duck. So, what do you think it is? For some unknown reason, it's fish, lizard fish to be more specific. In Sri Lanka, people dry it first and then consume it. Otherwise, they temper it, fry it, or can even cook it as a curry. Well, that's it for today. Share the most deceptively named foods you know in the comments.